The Ryzen 5 5500 is the kind of CPU that rewards smart budgeting. It's efficient, it doesn't need a monster VRM, and it's also a PCIe 3.0 chip, so a lot of PCIe 4.0 hype won't change your day-to-day experience with the CPU. What will change your experience is whether the motherboard has the ports you actually use, enough M2 storage, stable BIOS support, and the right size for your case. In this video, you're going to see the best motherboards for the Ryzen 5 5500 across two tiers. First, the budget boards that make sense when every dollar matters, and then my top suggestions that feel complete without costing more than the CPU is worth. Along the way, you'll also get the best alternatives for ATX, Micro ATX, and Mini-ITX cases, plus quick guidance on which pick fits gaming, simple home PCs, or future CPU upgrades, so you can buy once and not regret it later. You can check all motherboards mentioned in the description. So first, let's break down the budget choices that actually make sense. At the budget end, you're basically choosing between three types of boards, and each one has a very different catch. One option is A520. This is the get the job done tier. It can be totally fine for a Ryzen 5 5500 if your build is simple, one GPU, one NVMe drive, and you just want stable performance at stock settings. The downside is you usually give up some flexibility, fewer storage options, fewer nice-to-have features, and it's not the tier you pick when you already know you'll expand later. If your whole goal is spend the minimum and move on, this tier exists for you. Then you've got older B450 boards. These are still popular because you can sometimes get built-in Wi-Fi at a low cost. That's useful if your router is across the room and you don't want to run Ethernet. The trade-off is that B450 is simply an older platform, and depending on the exact unit you receive, BIOS compatibility can be a concern. If you go this route, you're choosing it because it solves a specific problem, like needing Wi-Fi on a tight budget, not because it's the cleanest long-term choice. And the third option, and this is where the value is right now, is budget B550. With a Ryzen 5 5500, you're not buying B550 because it magically boosts FPS. You're buying it because, at similar pricing, B550 boards tend to feel more complete. Better layouts, better storage options, fewer annoying limitations, and usually a smoother build-it-once-and-forget-it experience. Plus, if you ever upgrade to another Ryzen 5000 CPU later, you're already on the better platform for that move. So when you zoom out and ask, what's the smartest budget buy that doesn't feel cheap, the board that makes the most sense is the ASRock B550M Pro 4. It's a Micro ATX board that fits most cases, it's on B550, and it covers the basics without forcing weird compromises. For a Ryzen 5 5500 build, that's what you want. The board disappears into the background and just lets the system run. However, there are two downsides you should know up front. First, no built-in Wi-Fi, so if you need wireless, you either add a cheap adapter or choose a different board. Second, Micro ATX means you get a reasonable amount of expansion, but not the spread-out full ATX look and spacing. For most builds, that's fine. If you're the type who adds multiple cards or just wants extra room, you'll want an ATX alternative in the next section. Another budget alternative that actually makes sense if you're doing a basic build and want the cheapest reputable route is something like the MSI A520MA Pro, just except that it's the simple build lane. If you need Wi-Fi built in and you're staying in the budget tier, ASRock B450M AC R2.0 is the kind of board that people target for a reason. It solves the wireless problem without extra parts, but it's still an older platform choice. Now let's move to the best overall value boards for the 5500. This is where your motherboard stops being the cheap part you tolerate and becomes the part that makes the whole PC feel easier to live with. In this range, you usually have three options. The first is a Micro ATX B550 board with Wi-Fi built in. This is the choice that fits most users. You get wireless, you get a modern AM4 platform, you get enough storage for a normal gaming library, and you don't have to buy extra add-in cards just to connect to the internet. The second is a clean ATX B550 board. Nothing runs faster just because it's ATX, but ATX can be the better experience if you want more space, more slots, and a full-size board in a mid-tower. If you're adding capture cards, extra PCIe devices, or you just want the build to feel less cramped, ATX is the comfort pick. And the third option is the trap, premium-leaning B550 boards with wild pricing swings. These boards can be excellent, but the moment a board costs more than an actual CPU upgrade, it stops making sense for a budget build. That's how you waste the 5500, overspending on the platform instead of improving performance where it matters. So all things considered, the best overall choice for the average Ryzen 5 5500 user is the MSI B550M PRO-VDH Wi-Fi. It checks the boxes that matter day to day: built-in Wi-Fi, a solid B550 base, and flash BIOS support, so you can update the BIOS without needing to borrow another CPU. That's the difference between a smooth build day and a frustrating one. The trade-offs are simple. It's micro ATX, so if you care about maximum expansion room or the look of a full ATX board, you may prefer an ATX alternative. And it's not a luxury board, so don't expect every premium extra. What you get is the stuff you actually use, which is exactly the point with a Ryzen 5 5500. Now, if you want full ATX spacing in a mid-tower and you don't need Wi-Fi built in, MSI B550A Pro is the sensible ATX alternative. It's the clean and simple full-size move. If you're building Mini-ITX and you need a compact board that still feels legit, Gigabyte B550i AORUS Pro AX is a realistic option. Just expect ITX to cost more because availability is tighter. If you're staring at a listing like Gigabyte B550 AORUS Elite V2 at a high inflated price, the board isn't the issue, the value is. That money usually makes more sense as a GPU upgrade, more SSD storage, or better cooling and airflow.